Miss Lily Nowak. The final one is for a staff member. The individual is Miss Nicole Meckes, a 8th grade world history geography teacher at Freeland Elementary Middle School. She's not here tonight. Ms. Meckes is being recognized for her work with the Veterans of Foreign War essay contest. This year, under her direction, we had almost 80 students participating in this, and this is the first year we had 6 local winners. So we recognize her for her work with the essay contest. I will make sure she gets her certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donati. At this time, Mrs. Hudak, the chairperson of our Foreign Language Department, will give us a brief overview of the foreign language curriculum.
Good evening, Dr. Antonelli and members of the school board. My name is Lori Hudak, and I'm the World Language Department chairperson at Hazleton Area High School. And the reason I'm here this evening is to present an overview of the rewritten curriculum in the World Language Department. This past summer, we had a group of people who worked on a committee in Spanish, French, and German create new curricula in all 3 languages, and they were written at levels 1 through 4 in each of the languages. Unlike the core subjects, our curriculum is based on the ACTFL standards, as we're not part of the Common Core, and therefore we were not able to use that type of standard. ACTFL stands for the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, with a focus on 5 C's. Those 5 C's include communication, cultures, connections, comparisons, and communities. These goals are placed on speaking, reading, writing, and listening in foreign languages, connecting with other cultures, and actually going out into the community and being able to speak, understand, and write in those languages. The curriculum is set up in accordance with the format of the core subjects, and it's based on a timeline where we use pacing with our standards, which lead to course objectives, which are based on the content to be taught, with resources that lead to a culminating performance task and a variety of assessments. On the PowerPoint, Mr. Krasansky, if you scroll up, please.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. There you see the ACTFL standards and the 5 C's, and if you'll scroll up again, please. Here's a snapshot sample of the French curriculum where you can see the layout of the curriculum with the timeline, the units, the standards, objectives, contents, the resources, that culminating performance task, and the variety of assessments. And if you'll scroll up again, please, we've taken a snapshot of a sample performance task in Honors French 2, where the students speak completely in French to perform a fashion show. If you'll scroll up again, you'll see one in German, where the students do a writing task, where they create a small autobiographical sketch with personal information. And if you'll scroll up again, please, we'll see the Spanish curriculum, where students will learn how to send an email in the target language as if they were traveling in Spain and had to communicate with a travel agent. We present this new curriculum to you in hopes that it will meet with your approval. In front of you, you should have a packet that will contain all of these materials, and I hope you'll have the opportunity to peruse the packet at your leisure. If you should have any questions after you have had the opportunity to read through everything, I hope that you will contact me with any questions that you might have. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Then I thank you for your attention. I know you have a very busy agenda. I thank you for your time and hope I will hear from you with any questions that you may have in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wallace, if I may, I would like to make one announcement at this time. As much as I hate to say this, they are forecasting a potential snowstorm for Wednesday. And on our school calendar, our first snow makeup day is in fact Monday, December the 1st. So if we are not in school, and Kent, I would appreciate if possibly you could do a blurb in the newspaper tomorrow. If we're not in school due to snow on Wednesday, we will be making up the day on Monday December 1st. We have 3 built-in snow days. December 1st is the first one, April 2nd is the second one, and April 6th is the third one. So again, let's hope we don't have to use it, but if we are off due to snow on Wednesday of this week, we will make the day up on Monday, December 1st, and that's for all buildings, including the central office. We will be off on Wednesday, if in fact the storm hits, and the day will be made up Monday, December 1st.
Thank you, Dr. Antonelli.
Thank you.
We will now have public comment directed to the board on items, agenda items only. If you come up to the podium, please just state your name and the agenda item you are here to discuss. Mr. Bonomo.
Gino Fadula. That's it.
Motion to approve board meeting minutes, regular board meeting, October
Second.
23rd. Mr. Reba, roll call.
All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report for
So moved.
October.
Second.
Mr. Reba, roll call.
On the treasurer's report, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Dr. Antonelli.
Curriculum and instruction, approve items 1 and 2 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba.
Numbers 1 and 2, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Approve items 3 through 8 with one motion.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments?
Mr. President, I do have one question on number 6. It says 3 teams. How many on each team?
I believe Dr. Butler right now has 4 members on each team.
And we'll be okay with getting subs for
No.
those days?
No.
I'm
Right.
confident that, we'll be able to cover the subs. Again, it is spread out over 3 days, and possibly we could do something so that we don't have all 12 people out on any one particular day. Dr. Butler isn't here this evening. I'm going to have to check with him when he returns.
Number 3, I'd like to thank very much the math department for fielding a math counts, a group of math counts teams this year. I think that's a very, very important reintroduction of a matter that hasn't been on the agenda for a while. On number 4, who's the mentor for that particular student?
Mr. Briggs and Dr. Butler.
Okay, excellent. And number
And again, if I may interrupt, I think at this point I should acknowledge that Mr. Briggs did successfully defend his dissertation and in fact has earned his doctorate degree in educational technology, Mr. Briggs? Dr. Briggs? Congratulations.
Number 8, I'm hoping that we'll see that happen in all the other schools in this district.
Mr. Reba, roll call.
Numbers 3 through 8, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
If I may just comment on number 8, the other schools in the district, Dr. Childs, do in fact have after-school tutorial programs under title money. Since Valley and Drums are not title schools, they do not have the after-school tutorials. So in fact, we are asking, again, and thank you for your approval for these 2 initiatives to equalize the playing field for Valley and Drums.
Right. The Valley and Drums now will be for all students then, right?
It's on a volunteer basis for any student who may wish to attend.
Because again, that's somewhat different from the other 6.
It is, and that is because of the issue with the title funding and how that title funding has to be used.
Right, right.
We already did that. Dr. Antonelli.
Approve items 9 through 16 with one motion.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments?
Yes, I may be looking over the wrong, but number 12, hold on a second, let me just see how that matches up. Nope, it'd be number 11. $1 doesn't seem like a lot to me, but it's a lot to some people. I prefer to see this as a wear your shirt, volunteer your money if you can.
Mrs. DeRose?
Okay, and again, my question is, I see an awful lot of families in my practice who really, $1 is a lot more consequence to that family than it is to, say, my family. And I'm concerned about the difference or the differential you'll see between those who have and those who don't have. I'm anxious to avoid that.
I think the motion does say will be asked to pay it. I'm assuming if somebody can't afford it, you'll let them go.
Mr. Reba?
Numbers 9 through 16, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No on 12.
No on 11.
Ayes have it, motion passes.
Approve items 18 through 25 with one motion.
So move. Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Numbers 18 through 25, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Special education, ESL, alternative education, approve items 26 through 29 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I'd like somebody to explain to me what this music therapy program is.
Mr. John, that is a program for our life skills, our multiple disabilities class, where we have a skilled person that will come in and use it to entertain the children or to give them therapy. It has been quite successful throughout the years with our program. We did have a person that was doing it. She could not do it this year, so we are hooking up with this outfit to try to replicate that as we have in the past.
Good explanation, Mr. Manfredi, as always.
Mr. Reba?
Numbers 26 through 29, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Security, approve items 30 and 31 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Numbers 30 and 31, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Nutrition, approve items 32 through 37 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? I believe Mrs. Yannick brought it to our attention that in number 32, the flyer says 11:30, not 12 o'clock. I think, okay, just so we're clear with that.
Mrs. Farley, what is the time? 8 to noon? Okay, thank you.
And once again, thank you for a great tradition that's now started. Everybody looks forward to. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 32 to 37, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Transportation, approve items 38 through 40 with one
So
motion.
moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Numbers 38 to 40, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Technology, approve items 41 through 44 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Numbers 41 to 44, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Student activities, athletics, and extracurricular, approve items 45 through 48 with one motion.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Number 45 to 48, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Facilities and Capital Projects, recommend board approve quote from Spec Restoration Company at the cost of $7,686 for pool project at Hazleton Area High School.
So move. Second.
Questions or comments?
Can we
Mr.
just, for public, for the public's stance, can we get a little explanation on GC 51?
We're only on number 49, Bobby. We're
Let's
not
just
there yet.
wait till the next one, and then we'll get that explanation.
Jumping the gun.
I'm gonna keep
Mr.
people waiting.
Mr. Gunshore, on number 49 as the low bid, is there a timetable for when they will start the project? Is there an idea of how long it's going to take for them to get this caulking? Okay. Any other questions or comments on number 49? Mr. Reba, sorry.
Mr. Gunshore, what was the degree of work that Barry Isaac did on this project? Is that something that you could have done? Thank you.
Mr. Reba?
39, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, 49. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Recommend board approve the following change orders for Maple Manor Elementary Middle
So
School.
move. Second.
Questions or comments, Mr. Mahalik?
Yes, sir. GC 51. Additional paving due to sidewalk contractor damaging asphalt.
Mr. Gunshore, would you go to the mic, please?
That's not a correct description. Actually, what happened is when we replaced the sidewalks along the front of the school, we had to install handicap ramps, and when we installed the ramps, that changed the dynamics of the paving, so we had to replace the paving at the driveways.
The way it reads now, Mr. Gunshore, is the fact that they made something, looks like they caused the problem.
Right, but
And I had the same
that's-
question, Mr. Mahalik. I was gonna ask the same question. That if they did it, they should be paying for it.
No, it's not damaged. They had to remove the pave and change the way it's laid out because of the handicap ramps. They had to lower the sidewalks to get the ramps, and then they had to remove the paving and replace it at a lower elevation. So it's not that they damaged it, that's just an incorrect
Just so
description.
there's, go ahead, Tony.
No, that's okay.
Just so there's no misconception that they're the cause of it.
Right, no, they did not cause it.
Okay.
They were-
So in the original description, was it designed for handicapped accessibility onto the sidewalk?
Originally, the sidewalks weren't part of the project, but it was determined later on in the project that the sidewalks should be replaced. There was bad curbing, a lot of spalled concrete, and any time you replace sidewalks, you're required by code to install handicap ramps.
Mr. Gunshore, with the change orders listed here, I don't know if you could answer this or not.
Yes,
Are we over our contingency fund amount, or are we still under it?
we're still under,
With these change orders, we're
with
still
all these
under.
change orders, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think for the record, maybe we should just change the wording on GC 51, because 10 years from now, somebody could go back and look at this and again, unfairly claim that the contractor damaged the asphalt. So maybe we could just state, due to the need for handicapped entrances and exits, this was a necessity.
Yes, unfortunately, that's the description that they sent through.
Yeah. I just wouldn't want them to be, tabled with that 10 years from now or something.
Can we do that?
Sure.
Noted, it's noted. Bob, you noted it?
Mr.
question
Gunshore,
to
you'll
you-
get together with Mr. Krasansky for the correct wording.
Yes.
Thank you.
My question to you is, knowing that if these people are in the business and they know that when you put a sidewalk in, it has to be handicap accessible?
But this paving that we're talking about wasn't part of the project. When you replaced the sidewalk,
Right.
The contractor was only doing the sidewalk. The contractor that the school district hired only did the sidewalks. He didn't do the pave.
Oh, okay.
So the Maple Manor contractor, who was also paving the driveways, continued out to the street.
And
Thanks.
my last thing, and I know the architect isn't here this evening, but I came into this project when it had already begun, and from day one, everybody had talked about using those locker rooms for our soccer teams to use as an indoor-outdoor facility, and it's just mind-boggling to me that $18,000 later, that this just was not included in part of the original bid on the project, and I just had to say that. Because from day one, we had talked about doing it, that nobody would know we would need locks until after we're in the building. Mr. Reba?
Number 50, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No on 50, 51, EC 15, and 16.
GC 50, GC 51,
EC
15.
15 and 16.
okay, any other no votes?
I'm no on EC 15 and 16.
Ayes have it, motion passes.
Recommend board approve Greater Hazleton Joint Sewer Authority to construct a temporary access drive behind Hazleton Area High School.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gunshore, by the way. Questions or comments?
What's the purpose for the access?
So they can access their sewer line down at the bottom of the incline.
Aren't there wetlands down there they have to be careful of?
I think, Mr. John, that's why they need to access it from our way, because they'd be
Can't
coming
go the
through the
other way.
wetlands the other way.
Okay. Thank you.
Was there an easement agreement, and if so, was it approved by Attorney Slusser?
They're not coming in off the road in back of the high school. My understanding is they're coming in from in back of the track, not directly in back of the high school.
But they'll
As far as the
still
easement
cross.
agreement, Chris,
We're not giving them permanent easement to this, just a temporary easement they asked for, so we're never giving them rights, and the road will be there if we need to use it for any of our purposes.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Reba?
Number 51, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Finance, approve items 52 through 64 with one motion.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Numbers 52 to 64, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Presentation of bills.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
65A through T, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No on D.
No on A?
No one A.
Okay, let me start with Mr. Early. No on
D.
D. Mr. Mahalik?
D.
No on D.
Mr. Dr. Childs?
I'm fine.
Mr. John?
No on A and D?
Okay, Mr. Bonomo?
No on D.
Mr. Chapman? Any no votes?
Yes. No.
All yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, no.
Mr. O'Donnell?
No on A.
No on A?
A.
Shannon?
Oh, yes.
All yes. Mr. Wallace?
Does, D doesn't include the price for the dirt, correct? Then I'm yes then.
Okay, I believe everything passed.
Yes.
Ayes have it.
Superintendent's agenda, approve items 66 through 79 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mr. Reba?
Number 66 through 79, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Approve items 80 through 90 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Yes. I would like to point out that we see that two of our bilingual paraprofessionals are apparently not accepting the jobs that were offered to them. I would like to point out that apparently, I talked to Dr. Lake earlier today. Apparently, what's happening is that we are getting applications from individuals who've been working for Head Start in part-time jobs, and so Head Start is raising the ante by offering them benefits and also offering them continued education. We're going to have to come up with some better approaches. This is for the new year. If they can offer that, and they've apparently, we are now down to 4. They've taken 5 away from us. So we had 9. So we have to come up with something better. Along the same lines, I'm hoping that we will maybe better define Dr. Arias's job in the district. We've had some incidents that he should have been involved in, and certainly has not been involved in to this point in time.
I would have liked, it would have been nice if Dr. Lake was here to explain that to us, Doctor, that you didn't have to do it, but that's just my own personal opinion. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 80 through 90, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No on 90.
No on 85.
Any other no votes? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Any of our new appointees that may be present this evening? I see Ms. Drobnock. Anyone else that may be here, please rise. We'd like to welcome you and congratulate you.
Mr. Wallace, if I could just say something real quick. On number 85, the only reason I voted no on that, I think Mrs. Drobnock would be an excellent candidate for the position. I've brought this up in executive session. My only concern is with the 4%, that if it does happen to be a grant or something that we get, that we're capped at 5% for expenses, I think it could leave us in a position where maybe we wouldn't get that grant or gift or whatever, amount that it was. So that's
Mr.
my
Early,
only
just,
reason.
excuse me, as a point of clarification, she will not be seeking grant money. That's not part of what she will be doing. We have a grant writer, to procure that money.
Okay, so that's been addressed then?
Yes.
Then I will change my vote to yes.
Sorry, Brian, we should have clarified that. I didn't realize you didn't know that.
Approve items 91 through 93 with one motion.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I'd like, Dr. Antonelli, on number 93, you're satisfied that this is a,
Yes, we have the appropriate documentation from a specialist.
thank you very much.
Mr. Reba?
Numbers 91 through 93, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Ms. Makowicz, is she with us this evening? Okay, we will acknowledge her. 94, personnel action on local agency hearings.
I'd like to make a motion. The motion will read as follows. Motion to approve the adjudication containing findings of fact and conclusions of law termination the employment of Mr. Guy Hudak, effective immediately for the reasons outlined within the adjudication. And motion to approve the adjudication containing findings of fact and conclusions of law termination the employment of Mr. Jamie Roman, effective immediately for the reasons outlined within the adjudication.
Second.
Okay, we need to vote on each of those separate, so if we can,
Questions or comments first? Okay, Mr. Reba?
on the first motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, if I can ask, I heard Mr. Wallace was a no vote. Mr. John was a no vote. Who else was
Me.
a no vote? Mr. Bonomo was a no vote. Any other no votes? Ayes have it, motion passes. On the second motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
We have Mr. Wallace Mr. John. Mr. Bonomo, did you vote no?
No.
Ayes have it, motion passes.
And that concludes the agenda, Mr. Wallace.
Mr. Wallace, if I could, I'd like to make one motion quickly. Recommend the board approve the non-classified employees agreement beginning next year and for all future years to match the pay increases with the HAEA contract.
So move.
Second.
My reasoning behind that is we approved that last month on the 1%. But this group is also tied to the HAEA with their benefits, as far as their medical benefits. And I think one thing that we've done that's been beneficial to the entire board this year is, and I think Mr. Wallace, you were instrumental in doing this, was getting all of our contracts lined up so that we negotiate all of them at one time. But this is just another part of that we can move another group of employees that, in essence, we don't have to, we can handle everything at once.
I just have one question, okay? Following a teacher's contract per se, let's suppose if the raise is 2.8%, that's the lump of money that they then divide up among themselves. Are we talking about 2.8% for everybody, or 2.8% the money goes in and then it's divided up among them?
I think the raises have always been pretty uniform, so I would say 2.8 across the board.
Okay. We have public comment on that?
Yes.
Since this is a new item being brought up, we do have public comment, if anybody would like to come up and speak. Questions or comments from the board?
Do the unions not have to approve of this change? Is this
The
something that
unclassified don't, they're at
Oh, I'm
basically,
sorry. Okay,
yeah.
got it.
No, this
Okay,
is
don't
just
mind.
the unclassified.
Right,
They're
got
at our discretion, basically.
Got it.
Non-classified, I'm sorry. Mr. Reba?
On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
I heard Mr. Bonomo, Mr. John. Any other no votes? Mr. Chapman. Ayes have it, motion passes.
Any other board members, new business? Anybody from the audience, new business they'd like to address with the board?
I'd like to make two comments. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Barletta for hosting at Freeland Elementary Middle School today the annual Read Across America affair, and it was done very, very well. I certainly enjoyed, I enjoyed participating, let alone observing what went on. Secondly, I'd like to thank Mr. Wallace. This will be your last meeting for being in charge of this, the entire meeting. I'd like to thank you for the efforts that you put out this year. None of us can realize all the massive personal strain, but we've got some idea, and we really appreciate all that you put into it yourself.
Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Childs, he's going to run again.
Oh, no. Being on the board has been a great experience. Being president was one of the worst experiences of my life.
I'd like to make a statement, if I may. Very, it'll be a very benign statement that as we come right around the corner for new seats possibly being open, there's some votes that we make, and tonight would have been one of them, where it's very, very difficult for a board member. And I think it's important for me to state that the information we have, you hear a little part, we get a much larger part. And then we come out here and we can't say anything because we're told we can't say anything. And then people look at us sometimes like, how could you do something like that? You know, the role of this, which I've asked for on two separate occasions, is that we make very difficult votes sometimes that affects people's lives. You think you're 3 days, away from a very solemn holiday where it's about giving and being with family and times, and you take a place like tonight, and it's very, very difficult for me. But understand, we vote with information you don't have. So you might not understand what I'm saying, but I feel better from saying it.
Yeah, and adding to that, I agree 100% with what Mr. Mahalik stated. We're on a lot of people are on the outside looking in. So well-intentioned people on the outside looking in. On the other hand, we're on the inside looking out, and the same thing that Mr. Mahalik said, information, documents, and so on, it's tough. It's a very tough decision, one that I think all of us agonized over the last 4 to 5 weeks, if not more. And that's all I'll say on that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Public comment? Just state your name, please.
Luke Olander. I'm the student representative. I just have, this will be brief. I just have 2 points from the students.
You were late tonight.
Yeah, I apologize. The first point was that for seniors for upcoming years, there may be a need for a third guidance counselor because the 2 counselors we currently have, they're doing a fantastic job, but it's hard because there are students who sometimes they can't get to because they each have they have a lot of students to attend to. So just something to consider for future for future school years, because we have 765 students this year and it's going to increase, so it could be a problem with only 2 senior guidance counselors. And my last point was the possibility of considering dress down Fridays for students, and they could pay a small monetary amount to wear Hazleton area sweatpants, t-shirts, hoodies, and we could donate the money to local charities. Just points to consider.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else public comment? No? Oh, come on.
May I presume, Michelle, that you're in agreement with what?
Yes, and in fact, when we cut Japanese position last year, I sent a letter to the board expressing my concern that we were reducing the overall guidance department by a counselor, and the need was very great, and I even expressed most ratios should be only 1 to 250. Our numbers at the high school are more like 1 to 465, and there is a great need, especially at the senior year, as Luke pointed out, because obviously that's when college applications, and it's a lot more time consuming. Not to mention all of the needs of the other students, behavioral-wise, emotional-wise, and I think we're doing our students a disservice by reducing the guidance department.
Thank you very much, Mr. Planus.
And Doctor, this was brought up, but it was unfortunately rejected, but I'd be glad to listen to bringing it back anytime. Yes, sir. Just please state your name.
Gino Fadullo. Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. Antonelli. I'm here, some of you I've met before, some of you I've worked with before in a capacity. I'll tell you briefly. I was prior parole agent for Luzerne County, detective supervisor for Hazleton City Police for the past 25 years. Recently I was Florida State Trooper. We moved back into town. I want to commend the school district on the virtual academy. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's a good alternative for some of these kids that are having issues with our public schools, whether it's a lot of students in the class or any kind of other kind of drug problem. I know Mr. Rocco Patron was very helpful in getting my daughter in, but I ran into a snag. And the snag was that my son has encountered some problems with school in the past 2 years. We've been working on him diligently as parents. I've been very involved in his education. I'm here to be an advocate for him. He's had his share of issues as a student. He's in the 12th grade. We decided to try online with him. He's been doing wonderfully with behavior, but he still has some study habits that we're working on. There was a situation where, and I addressed this to Dr. Butler, and I got somewhat of an answer. Maybe Dr. Antonelli can help me out with this. We had a situation where he was not doing certain lessons online, which I thought he was. Now, he did some, but he had some problems navigating through the thing, and I know a lot of it was frustration, not wanting to do some of the things and focusing more on math, which he ended up losing out some of the other credits or some of the courses on that. But I got a phone call, and I was really upset that Ms. Maddock called me and said that my son has missed 19 classes of government and is being dropped. And that was the first I heard from it. I didn't get any information from the teacher. I attempted to call the teacher. I didn't get any phone call back from the teacher at all. I spoke with Mr. Butler about this, Dr. Butler, and he acknowledged that. And I'd like to know, I just want to bring this to Dr. Antonelli's attention, and maybe he can help me out, because what I'm faced with now is my son's being dropped, okay, and he's in his senior year, and I need teacher involvement. I called the teacher, and the teacher still didn't call me back. I didn't act that way when I was a police officer or a detective. I mean, I understand these teachers are busy. I also am a substitute teacher. So I really commend you guys on this virtual academy. I think it's a wonderful program, but I think my son's fallen through the cracks. And I don't want to pay $150 for a packet. I asked if they can give him another chance so I can more supervise what he's doing, because I could have prevented it. I could have corrected it and prevented it if I would have got a progress report or a phone call from the teacher. And that's all I'm saying. I don't know if there's any policies on progress reports or what they have to do. Maybe Dr. Antonelli can give me that information.
Gino, we'll be happy to work with you. We're in the business of teaching.
Yes.
There was obviously a breakdown in communication.
Yes.
So if you call me,
I hope that it wasn't a fire drill.
if you call me tomorrow morning, we'll work it out.
I will do that.
We
And
will
that's-
work that out
I
for
just-
you and for your boy.
And I just want, again, I want to say that I think it's a wonderful program. I think it's something that's an alternative for a lot of our students. I think a lot of them excel at it, and it was a good program for my son, but my son is struggling with education. I'm sorry to say that. I would like him to be a dean student, but an A student. But unfortunately, I'm dealing with a boy that needs to mature a little bit, and he needs some guidance. And I wanted to be there to help him, and I just wanted some more teacher involvement. But I do appreciate that.
Call me
Dr.
first thing in the
I will
morning.
definitely do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Thank
And
you.
sir, if I may, thank you for standing up and saying such. And as a father, I hope I have as much courage to advocate for my child if he would need it.
Thank you very much.
you.
I think about my children, and I'm not here to condemn or make light of this school district. I think this school district, and I know this community. I've been involved in this community for 25 years. I know the problems more than anybody. I would also love to be, I would also like to extend my hand to help with any kind of drug program or counseling. I'm very good with the students. My wife is as well, and we see a need for some kind of a drug curriculum, which I know has been discussed before. Now, Serrano Gardens does do that, but I think I have some definite ideas, and I have a lot of expertise in that area, and I have a lot of experience with students, and I think I could help.
We also have an alternative education program we started this year. I think for certain that maybe we could utilize some of your expertise and
Well,
your
I would
experience.
be more than happy to help the youth of our community. I think it's more than important. I think it has to be. It's epidemic proportion now. I've seen a lot of death and I did a lot of investigations, and it's sad, and it's only getting worse, and we have to answer it. It has to be done. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, may I make a motion?
Let's see if anybody else would like to say
Absolutely,
anything,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Mahalik. We're all done? Now, Mr. Mahalik.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion. This isn't written down, but I'd like us to post, screen, and look for a secondary guidance counselor to replace the guidance counselor that was not replaced back in the late summer.
Second that motion.
We open this up for public comment. Any public comment on this motion? Questions or comments from the board? Mr. Reba?
On the new motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Could I make a motion
Adjourn.
to adjourn?
Thank you. Second it? Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.